So years ago, I did a major statistical analysis of every possible duo in the history of the game amongst great players, and you might be surprised who the winningest duo actually would be based on this metric, which is very advanced, and I might actually show some of the data. But basically, what you would understand is like the conclusion shows you something interesting that would make sense in and of itself, right? Why would these two players be chosen? And it was actually Wilt Chamberlain, which might not be that much of a surprise, and Klay Thompson. And you might be shocked by that, like, why Klay? But because it's accounting for this factor, the factor that they could play with anybody and they don't need the ball a ton to have a major impact. It's not so much accounting for just how good they are, although Wilt at his best, obviously, you can look at that insane, scoring and rebounding, and, you're not using these subjective things of era and fallacies and stuff. It's just like straight up he's just great. You can't really disprove that. Nobody in any era is going to stop him, so it doesn't really matter. But with Clay, it's the same thing. Like, okay, Wilt can, especially even based on his Lakers days later in his career, he can be a guy who averages 20 points a game, but he's going to shoot 70% from the field, and he's going to get a lot of offensive rebounds and putbacks. And he doesn't need plays called for him. He doesn't need the ball a lot. He's a great passer. He could lead the league in assists. He can get blocks. He can play good defense. He can pass, right? Everything like that. So everything I just said doesn't require you to have the ball. So that means that, he can have a major impact. He can put up 20 and 20, 20 rebounds, 20 points, 70% shooting, again, 5 assists, 5 blocks, all of this without playing great defense, without even needing the ball at all in doing that. Because again, a lot of those are going to be putbacks and high efficient shots that don't require a lot of ball handling or time or running plays. And Klay Thompson, shockingly, is kind of a similar concept, that he's a really good defender, even though he maybe is underrated. But if you look at some of those playoff runs, he was always the best perimeter defender for the Warriors, right? So in 4 title runs, he's defending the best guard player usually. So again, a great defender, great shooter, doesn't need the ball, can have 60 points with 10 dribbles, whatever it was. Like, so it kind of shows you the same thing, that Clay can have a lot of impact without really needing the ball, right? He doesn't need to handle a lot. He doesn't need to dribble a lot, doesn't, hog it. He's quick. He's catch and shoot. So what that shows you is it's the fit that makes it the winningest duo ever. It's not about them being the 2 best players ever, although Wilt obviously is the best player ever. But if you look at it, it's about the fit, and it's about, so you could put around those 2 players other great players like Michael and Kobe and whoever, right? But and it would work because they don't need the ball. So you can let Kobe and Michael Ball hog as much as they want. Or you could put them with a bunch of bad players, scrubs and random people, and it would still work because, again, those players will have more touches. And so either way, whether they play with really good players or really bad players, it still works. Whereas some of the other picks, right, wouldn't work as well because they won't, you put Jordan and Kobe or something, and then it doesn't work because it's too much. There's not enough balls. It creates a bad kind of, you're just putting big names together. And that's one of the biggest fallacies, actually, that I sometimes point out. You see these lists that are like, where they'll put like Jordan at the 2 and Kobe at the 3, and it's a horrible, horrible thing that shows you like some of these teams that just stack big names in real life and then don't end up working out, like the Suns or like the Nets or something, where you just are stacking names, and so it's not a good positional fit. They play exactly the same style. They both need the ball a lot. Like, it's not about, you'll say, of course, they're great players, but it shows you a lack of respect or understanding of actually the game, that what would actually fit best, what would actually work best, what is actually good team composition, right? Like, obviously, you would just hate those 2 players in a raw sense, but you would never really want to do that, right? Because you're just doing it for the namesake and the media hype, not because it's actually a good fit that makes sense together.